Welcome to WiseMo tutorials. With WiseMo myCloud, you can remote control computers and devices over the internet. This tutorial teaches you how to set up a myCloud account and how to deploy and install modules on different operating systems. If you want to jump to a certain topic, you have an overview here. Go to our website at wisemo.com. Click on the download button to go to the trials page. Here you can try our land-based modules and, more interestingly for the subject of this video, our internet-based modules. So click the sign up button. In order to use myCloud, you need to create an account. This account is used to log in to the myCloud console and to access myCloud from the modules. First, give your myCloud domain a name. It can be your company name, your own name, or anything else you find suitable. The name must be at least 3 characters long and be unique. If the domain name is available, a check mark will be shown next to the name. Then specify country and time zone if not already correct. Enter the email address you want to use with your account. You use your email address to log in and to receive important information about your domain. If you, for example, forget your password, your email address is used for recovery. Enter your name and a strong password. Verify it. Then enter the characters in the captcha. Click on it if you have difficulties reading it. Finally, click Create New Domain. Open your emails and find the verification mail from myCloud. If you do not see it, then check your spam folder. Click the Activate Domain link. You can also copy and paste the link manually to your browser. Go to Sign In and enter your password. You will automatically be sent to the Deployment tab because you haven't got any PCs or devices online. In order to remote control a PC or device, you must install a host module on it. We have host modules for Windows, Mac, Android, Windows Mobile and Windows CE. To the right you can see the host modules you can deploy. Hover the mouse over the small buttons to see what they do. You can download the installation file to the computer you are sitting at. You can send the deployment link by mail and SMS, or you can copy the deployment link by right-clicking on the name. Finally, you can edit the host configuration you deploy. Let me send a deployment link by mail. Enter the email address of the recipient. You can enter multiple email addresses if you like. You can edit the message body or leave it blank. Just don't change the deployment link. I have now changed to another PC and opened my mail. As the mail is plain text, you will need to copy the deployment link and paste it into a new tab. The page will show the module it finds suitable for the operating system. Click on the link and wait for the file to download. When it's downloaded, open it and run. Click Next. Read and accept license agreement. If you're not logged in as a Windows administrator, you should specify credentials here. Wait for it to install. Click Finish. The host user interface will be minimized by default. Double-click the host icon in the tray to restore. I'll not go into details, but just mention a little bit about authentication and authorization. You can select different authentication methods. Here we have selected authentication by Windows accounts. The configuration that is deployed from myCloud allows full access for all local Windows administrators. You can fine-tune this in many details and add Windows groups and users to the predefined roles you see. Let me minimize everything so we see the desktop, and I'll move back to the other PC. Here you see the host we deployed is online. Let's go to the Guest tab to remote control it. Guest is the term that we use for modules that controls the hosts. Because this is the first time we are controlling from this browser, you will need to install a plugin. The method depends a bit on the browser you use. Click Install to install the plugin for Chrome in this example. Add app. And now you see the host is online on the Guest tab as well. You can start different types of sessions with the host. I'll choose a remote desktop session. Again, because this is the first time you run this plugin, Chrome will do some preparations for the first launch. And now we're connecting. Enter credential for a local Windows account on the host computer. When it's a local account, you do not have to enter the domain name. Click Login, and we're in. Click, for example, the Start button, and click Outside. You can also start the other session types from this window. Click here to disconnect. And we're back on the Guest tab. When the host is selected in the list, you can specify properties for the host. For example, the credentials to get access to the host. There are many different properties that you can configure. And just browse quickly through them. When you're finished, click Save. Let me try a remote desktop session again. And see, this time I wasn't prompted for credentials. Okay. Back to the Deployment tab, and I'll show how to deploy an Android host. This time I'll send the deployment link with an SMS. So click the phone icon. Specify a name of the person who's going to receive this SMS. And specify a phone number in the international format, meaning starting with a plus and then the country code. Click Send Message. Switch to the Android phone. Find the message. It can take a few minutes for the message to arrive. Click the deployment link that will send you to Google Play. It can look a little bit different depending on whether you have the Google Play app installed on your phone. Click Install. Then Accept. And then Open. When the host opens for the first time, it will ask you to install an add-on module. Click Download. You're sent to Google Play again. Click Install and then Accept. If the host doesn't appear automatically, click the task button on the phone and find the host. Now the host will ask you to configure a password and ask you whether you want to be notified with a prompt before the guest gains access. Click Continue. If you run on a newer Samsung device, you will be asked to give the host app device administrator rights. Click Activate. Accept the Samsung terms and click the checkbox and confirm. Finally, you must add the host to your myCloud domain. Click the green Add to myCloud button. Enter your myCloud account credentials and click Add Host to myCloud domain. Click OK. Go to the menu in the upper right corner and select Restart. And now the host is set up and ready to be controlled. Back to the myCloud console and click the refresh button to see that the host is online. Go to the Guest tab. Select a remote desktop session. Wait for it to connect. You probably remembered that I specified a simple password. Enter it. Perhaps you also remember that I configured that the host user on the phone should confirm the access. Now I'll quickly switch to the phone, and this is how it looks on the phone. Click the notification that pops up. This will be shown regardless of the app running in the foreground. Click Allow Access. And now we can see on the host that a guest user is connected. Back on the myCloud console, we can see that we are controlling the Android host. Notice that the Android desktop is shown inside a skin of the actual device. The buttons on the skin are active. Click, for example, the Home button. Click on the screen to simulate touch event on the phone. Notice if I rotate the phone in my hand, the guest will follow. In the toolbar, you have standard Android buttons as an alternative to using the skin buttons. Click, for example, the menu button, the home button, etc. You have seen deployment of hosts for Windows and Android. The remote control has been done from the built-in browser guest, but we also have native guest modules for iOS, Android and Windows. Like for the host, deployment links can be sent by email or SMS. Let me demonstrate how to send a deployment link to an iPhone. Enter the email address of the recipient. You can modify the body of the email as you please, just don't change the deployment link. I have now moved to the iPhone where you see the mail are sent from the myCloud console. The link in the mail will send you to Apple's App Store where you can download the guest. Click the download icon and wait for the guest to download. When it's downloaded, click the open button. Because this is the first time you run the guest, you will be taken through a configuration guide. Click Continue. I'll configure the guest for myCloud, so click the button Configure and Use myCloud. Click the button I have an account. Enter your account credentials. And click Log On. You're sent to the myCloud tab where you see the Windows and the Android host we have online. So let's try to remote control the Windows host in the first row. Click on it. Click Remote Desktop. Wait for the guest to connect. Log in with your local Windows account. Click on the password line to enter the password. Click Log On. The screen that pops up tells you where to find more information about how to use gestures in the remote desktop window. I'll show you where that is in a bit. We don't want to see the screen again, so uncheck and click Continue. We now see the Windows desktop. In the middle you see a mouse inside a frame. Try to pan or swipe outside the mouse frame to change your view. If you pinch outside the mouse frame, you can zoom in and out. If you pinch inside the mouse frame, you change the size of the mouse to make it easier to position. To move the mouse, touch inside the mouse frame and move your finger. Notice if you move the mouse close to the edge, the view will automatically scroll. Move the mouse to the Windows Start button. Tap anywhere inside the mouse frame to simulate a mouse click. See what happens when you move the mouse frame. To get a keyboard, click the keyboard icon in the toolbar. Click it again to close. Click on the three dots in the toolbar to get a screen with special keys that are not available on the iOS keyboard. Click, for example, Ctrl-Alt-Delete. And let's cancel that. To send special commands to the host, click the triangle in the toolbar. From the menu you can execute different commands on the host. For example, send and receive clipboard. Let's lock the host computer screen. Let's unlock it. Open the keyboard. And enter the Windows password. Click Return, and we're back. To leave the remote desktop view, click the curved arrow in the toolbar. And now we see our two online hosts again. Notice the small yellow flash on the PC we are connected to. Click the remote desktop to go back to the session we have. Go back and let's start a chat session. Type a message and receive a reply. Close the chat session by clicking the X in the toolbar. Go to Sessions and click Disconnect. To log out of myCloud, click the box with the arrow in the toolbar. To log in again, click the refresh button. Enter credentials and remember the password for next time. And log on, and we're back. Now let's try to control the Android host in the second row. Let's wait for it to connect. Enter password. Wait for the host user to allow access. And we're in. Click, for example, on Apps. Click on the three dots in the toolbar to open the screen with the special keys. Now you see the Android buttons. Click Home. And click the X in the toolbar to disconnect. I promised to tell where you could learn more about the gestures in the remote desktop view. Click the Options tab. Find the row with mouse gesture instructions. And here you can read detailed instructions about what you can do with gestures. Back to the myCloud console again. We saw how to deploy and use the iOS guest. The Android guest is very similar to the iOS guest. So now we'll try to download a Windows guest to the PC we're sitting at. Click on the line with the Windows guest. The guest module most suitable for your PC is shown. Click on the link. Open the installation file. Click Next. Read and accept license terms. Click Install. Enter Windows Administrator password to be allowed to run the installation. Click Finish. If the guest minimizes or hides below the browser window, find the guest in the tray and double-click on it. You're currently not logged into your myCloud domain. Open the combo box and select your domain. You'll be prompted for your myCloud credentials. Enter the credentials and click Log On. And you'll see our 2 online hosts. Let's remote control the Windows PC we have online. Right-click on the laptop and select Remote Desktop. The guest will connect and prompt you to log on, enter the credentials, and because you're using a local Windows account, you do not have to specify the domain name. If it had been a normal domain account, you would have had to specify the domain name. You might want to look at the tooltips for the buttons in the toolbar to find out what they do. The Scale Host screen will, for example, scale the remote desktop to the size of the window. The All Screen Transfer optimizations will turn on all methods for speeding up the screen transfer, for example, disabling the wallpaper. Let me go back so we see the wallpaper again. You could also choose to go to full screen, so the remote desktop would take up your entire local screen. File transfer is another interesting session type that you can establish to the host. Because of the sandboxing and hence restrictions to the local file system, file transfer is not available in the Chrome browser. The file transfer feature is comprehensive. You can of course transfer files and folders back and forth with drag and drop, but you can also synchronize or clone folders. File transfer uses an advanced delta transfer algorithm, so only changes to files are transferred. This is convenient if you have a big file with relatively few changes. Let's go back to the main guest window. By the 2 overlaid images and the toolbar, you can see our ongoing sessions. If you select all sessions in the left pane, you also see our connection. Right-click the connection and select Remote Desktop to stop the Remote Desktop session. Now go to the File Transfer window and click the Close button. Okay, let's go back to the myCloud connections. Now we'll connect to the Android device. Double-click it to start a Remote Desktop session. Wait for it to connect. Log in and wait for the Android user to confirm the access. Remember that we configured the Android host to require this confirmation. This is of course something that can be changed on the host, so you can connect to an unmanned device where there would be no user to allow access. Notice that a skin for the host device is downloaded. Next time you connect, the skin will be cached. You can also transfer files back and forth to an Android host. Another session type that we haven't looked at yet is remote management. With remote management, you can remotely manage Windows, Windows Mobile, CE and Android. There are several tools, but not all tools are available on all host platforms. Let's look at the Task Manager. Here you can see what application and processes are running. You can also start and terminate processes and tasks. Another tool is Inventory. Select and wait for the inventory to be generated. Here you have detailed information about the host computer or device. Expand the tree view to see more details. If you go back to the main guest window and select the inventory panel, you can see all the inventories you have collected over time, and you can see pie charts over operating systems, their version, and total memory per operating system. Let's go back to the remote control panel and disconnect the host. Okay. Now let's try to look at some connection properties. Right-click the Android host and select Connection Properties. Go to the Display tab. Try to check the Show as Transparent window in the Skin section. Also, try to improve the quality of the transferred screen picture by moving the slider to the left. Okay. Connect again. Okay. Now you see that the remote device is shown without the frame and the toolbar. It's probably difficult to see that the screen quality is a bit better. To access the menu, right-click anywhere on the skin. Here, for example, we have the device buttons. You can of course still use the skin buttons. Let's disconnect and move back to the myCloud console. I'll show you a few of the administration features. Go to the Settings tab and select Users. Here you can see yourself, but most importantly, you can invite other users to join the domain. Just enter their email address, name and what role they should belong to. When you click Add User, an email will be sent to the address you have specified. The new user will follow a link and have to create a password. And they're ready to log in and access the host in the domain. They will of course not be able to control the host unless they know the host passwords. myCloud is a subscription service, and hopefully you will like what you see and become a paying customer at the end of your free trial period. To change your trial domain into a paid domain, go to the Subscription tab and select Subscription Settings. The subscription is divided into an active subscription period and the next subscription period. Here the active subscription period is trial. To change to a paid domain, go to next subscription period and click Edit Settings. Here you can select how often you want to pay. The longer period you pay for, the more you save. You can increase or decrease the number of hosts in your domain. When you're ready, click Save and Purchase. Enter your billing information, including your VAT number if your address is inside the EU. Verify the order information, including the currency. Read and accept the terms and conditions and click Continue. This will send you to a secure payment page where you should enter your credit card details. When that is done, you're up and running. If you check the Save My Credit Card, you will be automatically billed at the end of each subscription period. This ends the tutorial about myCloud, and thank you for staying with me. Although this was a long tutorial, there are still a lot of details we didn't get into. If you have any questions, problems, suggestions, we will be very happy to hear from you.